All the insight from Flame 2018. Very pleased to say it's Simon Wood with me now from S&P Global Platts. Thank you very much, Simon. Dare I ask how long you've been involved with Flame? How many years?
So I first came to Flame about 7 or 8 years ago, actually. In 2012 was my first conference, and I've been coming back here most years ever since. Firstly as a market participant when I was Senior Economist at ConocoPhillips, and more recently in my new role as the manager of the European gas analysis team at S&P Global Platts.
So how do you see the market and how, I mean, it's changed possibly beyond recognition?
It is probably the most exciting period for the European gas market, certainly in the last 10 years. We've seen a seismic shift, excuse the pun, with the announcement of the closure of the Groningen gas field by 2030. That's a loss of an asset that was producing as much as 50 BCM and as much as 20% of European gas supply, of Northwest European gas supply in 5 years ago, is now only producing 20 BCM and is 7% of European gas supply today. That gap has been filled by Russian gas. But how long can Europe survive without having to compete for LNG with Asia? That's a key question I think that the market needs to ask itself.
Yeah, has the market reshaped itself in the short term and looking to like the next couple of years in the way you would expect?
Well, it has actually, and what we've seen is with more Russian gas coming into Northwest Europe, the NCG and Gaspool, the German hubs, have shifted to a discount to TTF, whilst on the other side of Europe, MBP, the UK hub, has seen a loss of flexibility with the closure of the Roughs facility and is having to pull a lot more gas during the winter from a tighter Northwest European balance. The result is that MBP is now trading at a significant premium for winter to TTF, and that's something that can certainly see continuing in the future. So yes, we've definitely seen a shift in flows from the east to the west, as opposed previously when we saw flows from west to east.
Yeah, and that is for the next, that's the situation now, but do you see that continuing?
Yes, I do see that continuing in the
long
short term. The global LNG market doesn't show any signs of loosening. If you look at JKM swaps prices, it's still pricing in strong Asian volumes this winter, so I don't think there's much upside to LNG in the next 18 months, which means that yes, Europe's going to have to continue to get its gas to fill the hole that Groningen has left from Russia. So yes, I can see Gaspool and NCG staying at a discount, particularly in the winter months, for the next couple of years.
You don't see LNG coming into this?
Well, LNG is on the margins, and we may see an increase in volume in certain months, maybe the shoulder months, but certainly with Chinese demand looking so seasonal, although the growth is such that we can't tell how seasonal, I just don't see Europe being able to compete with Asia for LNG unless it really wants to pay a very, very high premium. JKM net back pricing being, obviously about 50% higher than current prices.
Okay, so looking ahead then, challenges for the market and maybe different customers or consumers within the market. What are the main ones that you pull out of it?
So in terms of the challenges to the market, I think it is about how do we price in flexibility? Because seasonal spreads are at the lowest level they've been for probably, well, on record. I think Q3, Q1 TTF is at below €1. That's below the short-run marginal cost of storage. So how we can build more storage with the loss of flexibility from Groningen and Rough facility in Europe and the UK, and the decline of domestic production across Europe, the market's not pricing in. And whether that comes from direct government intervention, i.e. like they have in France or Italy with strategic storage obligations and a requirement to inject into storage, or whether we offer some sort of incentive to build storage. But at the moment that incentive isn't there, and Europe is looking very short of indigenous flexibility, relying on external supplies.
Are there any particular countries that you would look to in particular as actually really being lacking in that storage?
Oh, obviously UK. It's Europe's second biggest gas market, yet it only has 1 BCM of storage. By contrast, the Netherlands has one storage facility in Bergermeer that's 4 times that size, as well as additional storage. And Germany also has a similar very, very high level of storage. So I have a total Northwest European storage capacity of around 40 BCM. The UK only has 1 BCM of it.
So I don't imagine you're going to want to suggest what the government could do, but there would obviously be different ways of tackling this.
Well, I think the attitude at the moment is that we just had a beast from the east. 1st of March 2018, we saw absolute record domestic demand. And
we had snow.
Yeah, well, more than a bit of snow.
Yeah.
We were actually, you had so much wind that UK continental shelf production had to shut in, it tripped. But on the flip side, actually, thankfully, there's lots of wind, so there's lots of power, lots of renewable generation, which helped the UK balance. But I think the attitude is that we saw record 1 in 20 demand conditions, and the UK just about balanced. So I think the view is that overall we can survive these short-term blips, and that these will be so few and far between that is it worthwhile investing billions of pounds into storage. I mean, but there are other forms of flexibility that you can look to. You can increase the level of interconnection with the continent, as well as
physical
interconnection.
Yeah.
So at the moment we have 2 pipelines, BBL and IUK. Only one export route. You can only export via the interconnector, you can't export via the BBL. BBL have announced plans as of gas year 19 to make that bi-directional, which would allow the UK to export gas in the summer, which may help ensure that Northwest European storage is full, which means the UK can pull on a more healthy European balance.
It's going to be an interesting few days at Flame. A lot of people, I'm sure you are looking forward to talking to.
Yes, yeah, a lot of old colleagues and a lot of new colleagues and acquaintances and friends to meet in the next few days.
Yeah, very much so. Simon, I'll let you get on with it. Thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you. Cheers.